I live in rural Australia in a neighborhood a few kilometers away from a small town next to the beach. This neighborhood is pretty much just thick forest, some roads and maybe 20 houses scattered around. I get dropped off from the school at a bus stop with a neighbor where I have to walk about a kilometer through thick bush and forest to get home. One day when I was in 6th grade, I was on the bus home from school. As I got close to my neighborhood, I started seeing more and more police cars parked on this side of the road and even an NRNA helicopter flying around. Me and my friends thought it was weird, but didn't think too much of it. I got off the bus with my friend and noticed that their mum was waiting for them again. A bit strange, but nothing crazy. I said goodbye and started walking off when my friend's mom called me over. I walked over and she told me that there was a shirtless, panicked man on the loose in our area. He was also wounded and had a weapon that the police wouldn't disclose. She said that he was meant to be extremely dangerous and that I should come home to her place instead of walking home through the bush. I was scared, but I got to my friend's house so I didn't complain. On the drive there, we made up heaps of theories, but none of them turned out to be true. We got to their place and I just hung around until my mum could leave work to fetch me. I got back to my house and started talking to my mum. I know there were police cars everywhere and about 10 helicopters scanning the area. My mum and dad said that the police had told them his name and some more details about him. He was an addict with a bad criminal record that had apparently been wounded in a fight and ran off. He was rumoured to have a firearm and was apparently in our backyard at one point. At the exact time, I would have been coming home from school. That was close. The helicopters kept on tracking him by report and sightings, and eventually he left the area. Later that night, police called up the residents and told them he had been caught. We slept okay, knowing we weren't going to perish. But the next morning, it turned out he hadn't actually been caught. I can't remember who told us, but he was certainly still on the loose. It was also found out that before he came to our neighborhood, he had assaulted a woman and stolen her car and drove into our area because of the kilometers and kilometers of thick forest to hide it. A bunch of other stuff also came up involving in drug trafficking and that he had been crushing with some drug dealers in one of my friend's neighboring houses. There were a bunch more things that led me to believe there was something else very fishy going on. The police got sniffer dogs in later that day and they kept searching to no avail. After a week, he still wasn't caught and a class trip had to be cancelled because he was still in the area, but some weeks later they finally apprehended him. And that case was closed. There's still a lot of confusion and some weird things that happened, and the police won't share any details, but he was caught. So that's fine, I guess.